Hey guys, welcome. Today we're going to cover the Bohemian Grove, which is kind of an interesting topic I've been interested in for a while here. It's kind of peculiar and intriguing. What that is it's a private club that is up in Northern California, just a little north of San Francisco, in the middle of a really dense redwood tree forest. They got over 1,000-year-old trees up there, 300 feet tall. And what happens in, I think the first or second week of July every year is for 2 weeks, the top elite leaders of the world and whoever they choose to invite, that could be, artists, musicians, comedians, celebrities, you name it. They all just come there and they basically party. It's very strange.
It's an all male club, by the way. Yeah, right.
All male club. Yeah, there's women that work there, but they got to be out by like 10 o'clock.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, or even some said before sundown.
Yeah,
There's been obviously lawsuits out about that, how they excreminate,
discriminate.
excreminate. They discriminate against women. They probably do excreminate as well.
Excremate.
Because what goes on in this place is obviously very secret. And anytime anything is wrapped in secrecy, or shrouded, should I say, shrouded in secrecy, people have wild, ideas and theories of what's really going on. What are they hiding in there? Now, the thing about this is, we're talking the leaders of the world. These are serious people. These are corporate leaders. This is your, elected officials, thought to be these upstanding men. They obviously, most of them are, a lot of Republicans actually, more than Democrats. But every Republican president and a lot of the Democratic presidents are members, or have been there.
Yeah, I heard it described as a Republican group.
Yeah, it's a conservative values thing, which is funny because they're supposed to be the ones that are all Christian and moral and modest and everything. But what goes on in this place? Well, first off, to start out, the beginning of the week they have a ritual that they perform, and this is pretty wild stuff. I mean, they have this 40-foot owl made out of concrete, and it's hollow, so they can have a fire going in there. And then all these men with robes come out, and they're all chanting and performing this ritual. And they have this little, humanoid effigy, like human-shaped thing, and his name is Care. And what they do is they sacrifice him to this to this big giant owl god.
The creation of Dole Care ceremony, right?
They just call it the creation of Care, or cremation of Care. Yeah, so they cremate him, and basically he represents all of your cares from the outside world, and they're going to burn him and make him just go away. So therefore, for the next 2 weeks, you've entered like a magical land where all your cares are gone. They also have another slogan of the club. It says.
And by the way, that creation of care ceremony, that's the ceremony that Alex Jones filmed and got
that is, yes,
on YouTube, right?
Cremation of Care, yeah. If you look that up on Google and Alex Jones and everything, you can find a video that was taken of this service. There's also photos that have been taken throughout the years. I mean, it's super creepy looking as far as like what you think Illuminati rituals are going to go as. I mean, this is dudes in robes chanting and burning and to this giant like owl god.
Yeah, you'll laugh at it, or you'll either laugh at it or go, holy shit, these people are insane.
Holy crap! Now it used to be rumored back in the day that they were actually sacrificing a real living human being.
Right. Yeah.
And that has never been documented. There is no evidence to support that. Obviously, wild conspiracy theorists want that to happen. If these are all reptilians, of course, I'm sure they're said they're drinking their blood and everything, but yeah, so weaving spiders, come not here. Weaving spiders, come not here. That's the slogan of the club, meaning you're not supposed to bring any of your deals or your feelings from the outside world into this place.
Or work.
Or work, right? So everyone's supposed to be on a level playing field. They're all a bunch of comrades and buddies, but of course, we'll get into this. There have been some interesting decisions and meetings there that we know of. There's obviously been a lot more. The owl, now the owl's interesting because that's their symbol of the club, and it symbolizes knowledge and wisdom. Also, there's a tiny, tiny owl in the top right corner of the dollar bill, and you can see it pretty clearly on pretty well new dollar bills. And that's a little shout out to the Bohemian Grove, they say. It could just stand for wisdom on the bill design. I mean, obviously owls will go back in time as a symbol of wisdom and knowledge. And also, just like us, we question the answers, and the owl says, "Whoo!" So he's questioning. So I like owls. My wife likes owls. They're real trendy right now.
Hey, when I hear an owl outside, I stop and listen. I like them.
Whoo! Yeah, it's kind of weird that an animal can be associated with something. So a lot of people see the owl and they immediately say, "Oh, Illuminati satanic ritual." It is an animal, so that seems kind of interesting. But let's see. There's no women. Oh yeah, no, sorry. The other thing that people think this owl is, this 40-foot statue, is Moloch, which is like an ancient Canaanite god, like a pagan god that they would worship. Yeah, and there was definitely human sacrifice going on. Obviously, in the Old Testament beliefs, I mean, if it wasn't God the Father Almighty being worshipped, then it was the devil, no matter what you called it. So this is like,
if these people worship. So where was that? Where do you think that tie was made? Like, it's an owl. It's being worshipped. Where did they tie that Moloch into it? You think?
What? Who tied that in? You're saying?
Yeah. Why did they tie Moloch to the owl?
I think Moloch has been depicted as an owl in history.
Oh, okay. I'm just kind of cruising over to find that answer.
It's hard to say when you're surfing the internet for you see a lot of things, you'll read it 3 or 4 times, but you wonder, is it really true, or has the same guy just repeated the other guy's opinion? And I mean, you can look up Moloch on Wikipedia, and Moloch seems to have represented many, many things, but basically Moloch always represents a non-Christian god. You know what I mean? Or a non-Jew Abrahamic god, which is like, which to me, I mean, is like whatever, but these are like the Republican leaders of the world. These are the conservative guys that are, that are supposed to be intelligent and very firm in their Christian beliefs, and then once a year they go up there and they worship this, or I don't know if they worship it, but they're taking part in this very interesting, clearly non-Christian ritual. Now, I'm not Dukey. This is not a Christian podcast.
Nay.
But I just find that ironic.
So it says here, Alex Jones claimed that the cremation of Kara was an ancient Canaanite, Luciferian, Babylonian mystery religion ceremony, and that the owl statue was Moloch.
Correct.
That's where it came from.
Yeah, and Moloch actually has many names that are all very similar. Alex Jones, he got real carried away with, he's like, they're worshiping Satan in there, and all this, and.
Well, John Ronson is the next thing where it says that he documented the ritual in his book.
Right.
And it says, my lasting impression was of an all-pervading sense of immaturity. The Elvis impersonators, pseudo-pagan spooky rituals, and heavy drinking.
Yeah. So that's what's interesting, because, I read that book, and actually he goes in there with Alex Jones.
Right.
And, there was mixed reviews, because Alex is like, did you see it? We busted him. We caught him. We're going to expose him to the world. And John Ronson is like, I mean, we caught him acting like frat boys. Like,
that's right.
we didn't catch him doing any satanic stuff. He's like, yes, we did. They were evoking the power of Lucifer. And he's like, okay, man. Like, you're getting a little carried away there. Like, I didn't see anything illegal even or anything. Now, what they do there is they piss everywhere. It's
I heard that too.
Yeah, it's a bunch of men, I mean, apparently a lot of nudity, a lot of drinking. There's there's scheduled like plays and speeches that go on. They had Conan was there recently.
Oh,
Certain guests will be coming in there. I heard that there's a connection because Conan used to write for The Simpsons, and The Simpsons has had a lot of
yeah.
subtle Illuminati imagery.
Mr. Burns from The Simpsons was a Bohemian Grove member.
I definitely could see that. Okay, very interesting. See, so there's a connection. Yeah, Mr. Burns. Yeah, they have this weird fake frog sounds that play out of these like little fake rock speakers everywhere. And I think on that Alex Jones video you can hear them. Just kind of weird croaking sounds. It just adds to the atmosphere. They have these Japanese lanterns all around in the trees. But yeah, so I find it interesting. They're like told that basically there's no toilets. Well, there's these weird sand areas with like these things you sit on with holes in them, and you take a crap in those things. And then they have like service people that come by and clean up your crap out of the sand. But otherwise, yeah, dude, just pissing everywhere, all over the trees.
On the tree.
I mean, that is like, yeah. I mean, just intentionally. There's also a ban against smoking in this forest because of forest fire concern, but they just completely disregard that, and they smoke tons of cigars like crazy.
It's like 2,700 acres, which is their area.
Mm-hmm.
They can get in, they can get out, do whatever. Yeah, in their defense, it is private land. I mean, they could basically do whatever the heck they want.
This is totally private land, absolutely. And more. So that's the cool thing, our country provides that privacy, and if you and I had a private place, we would definitely want to keep it private, whether we're doing things that people think are weird or not. It's up to us. And so this group, they've been doing it for a while now. It's funny though, because George W. Bush, so many people, not everybody obviously, but some people think of him as a fine upstanding citizen. He's a good old boy. He cares about his walk with God or whatever. But then he goes to this place and he takes part in these weird pagan rituals, and he's just drunk as a skunk, man. You got to think there's probably more than alcohol going on. Now they've also prostitutes have been said to be brought in there, as well as all kinds of gay stuff that they do with each other.
Richard Nixon said it was the gayest place on earth he'd ever been to.
He actually, he said it was very faggy, was what he said.
Faggy, I know, yeah, but on YouTube, the title that you're going to find is gayest place on earth.
Yeah, and he said that, yeah, they were a bunch of people from San Francisco, and I don't even want to shake hands with them.
That's right.
Because they're dirty. I'm going to catch their gayness. Ironically, though, there's pictures of him there at the place, so...
Yeah, there is. Did you hear about the adrenochrome?
No, what's that?
This is a drug. So the adrenochrome, you'll find information about this on Mark Dice's page, his YouTube channel. And I think he might have uncovered the story, but someone was saying that, and it might have been Hunter S. Thompson videos I was watching that led me to this, but which we were talking about before the show started. Adrenochrome is when you kill someone, their adrenaline starts flowing, right?
Right.
And they inject something in the back of their neck or their spinal fluid, and they pull out the adrenaline that's being produced, and they inject that into someone's veins. And it says that it's a high that's better than heroin, it's better than ecstasy, it's better than any drug you could make. And apparently that's what is manufactured at Bohemian Grove.
They're manufacturing
adrenochrome.
Now, how are they manufacturing? Like, who are they taking it from?
They kill boys, and there's stories about.
Oh, okay.
There's stories about like them laying people on tables, and running them through with a whole bunch of swords. And as the person realizes that they're being stabbed by all these swords, they stick them in the back, and that's when the adrenaline starts flowing in the person as they're dying.
Right.
So then they pull out that. So they do that to boys regularly, and then they save that adrenochrome.
So this is in line with the Montauk boys, same kind of
thing, yeah.
Just a bunch of crazy stuff. Obviously, yeah. Now, I couldn't find any documented evidence that this is actually happening, but it's always, of course, rumored that
stories, yeah.
That the elite, yes, has lots of pedophilic sex with young boys. The reptilians as well. But let's see, where are we at here? So yeah, every Republican Party president, some Democratic presidents. This includes cabinet officials, directors of movies, CEOs of corporations and financial institutions. I mean, that pretty much encompasses your whole list there. Obviously, people from other countries as well, not just American political people. They've been getting a lot of protesters out there, actually, outside every year, and they do a counter occult ritual. They do a ritual called the resurrection of Care. So inside there they cremate Care and they try to make all their worldly concerns go away, and outside they try to resurrect him and bring him back, which is it's kind of interesting. And they're out there picketing for various reasons. Some think, like you said, that they got a bunch of child sacrifice going on in there. Others are just pissed because they want hire women, but they don't like the secret stuff going on.
Yeah, one of the biggest protesters that's out there, her name's Mary Moore. She's been by herself most of the time, but most of the years she's been out there, but she's been out there for like 30 years or something. And then everybody kind of looks to her for advice on how to protest, like what she's been doing over the years. She still saves everything that she was protesting with. It's all in her house. But she's a woman. I mean, obviously, so she's probably protesting a men's group.
I think I saw her on that video, where she had all kind of stuff. I saw the Brad Meltzer's Decoded on History Channel did an episode, and they had Alex Jones in there, and they tried to infiltrate it or whatever, and one of them got caught or something, and they thought he was going to die, but he ended up, getting out or whatever.
It's like 24-hour hold or something.
Yeah, something like that. Let's see. The camp within the camp, it's broken up. Yeah, in the camping area, like where the cabins are and stuff, it's broken up into different categories, different types of businesses of industry.
Yeah, the camps.
The camps, yeah, and they got these weird names like the big business, banking, politics, university, media, and Texas business, which is of course the Bushes and their likes. They're called the Hillbillies.
Yeah. So Hunter S. Thompson video I was just telling you about. Yeah, he said he visited Hillbillies at Bohemian Grove, and nobody knew what that meant for a long time until they came out with what do they call those? A program of what was going to happen for the 2 weeks. And there it was, Hillbillies, and it is where George Bush and all them hang.
Yep. And then you got, let's see, big business, defense contractors, politics, and U.S. presidents. They're called the Mandalay. And I'll just go down the list of names here, but it's all on the Wikipedia entry. We got the Caveman, the Stowaway, the Uplifters, the Owl's Nest, the Hideaway, the Isle of Aves, the Lost Angels, the Silverado Squatters, the Semper Verins, Hillside, and Idlewild.
I like the Owl's Nest.
Yeah, some interesting names. You got to think maybe they're like kind of on teams. There's probably like events that go on throughout the day, some kind of maybe sporting events, competition. I know they go out and play some golf. I looked it up on Google Maps at the area. I couldn't really find the actual camp, I guess because it's under the trees, but there's definitely a golf course right there across the river, and I'm sure that's where they're playing. Because I've heard about multiple stories of these CEOs and whatnot being found out there, passed out on the greens in the morning. There's probably some terrible hangovers going on. There have been photos of the men, even them dressed in drag, just acting crazy. I've heard of these CEO types, these world leader types, these power mongers. They like extreme entertainment. They're known to go on big, like, death-defying, like, road trips and stuff. Skydiving and bungee jumping and just whatever's risk-taking. They like to go to the Burning Man Festival as well. A lot of craziness goes down at the Burning Man Festival, where a lot of these, people are they're hanging out in the orgy tents and getting wasted and.
Where's this at? Burning Man? How much is it again?
Burning Man. Yeah, it's been going on for years out in the desert. I don't know much about it. I mean, I know enough about it, but I've seen a lot of pictures. They have like live music and stuff.
They're like a fire-breathing spider or something. What Burning Man is kind of.
Well, Burning Man is they have a giant man they make out of like wood, wicker, kind of giant wicker man type thing, and
yeah.
And they just burn him, which is kind of like the cremation of care, I guess. It's all very primitive, It kind of seems like the Lord of the Flies or something. I mean, there is something about the Bohemian Grove that is very. It's just like you always had your little clubhouse when you were like 10, and only certain people were a member of your club. I mean, this is just the same old crap, but. The thing that people get upset about, of course, or concerned about, is that these are secret meetings going on, and they swear they're not talking about anything important. However,
yeah, the public officials talking about in private about and I mean, yeah, a lot of people came out saying that, like, the wars that we're currently going through are conceived at Bohemian Grove.
Conceived there, yeah, it's documented. I mean, it's a proven fact that the Manhattan Project was conceived out of the Bohemian Grove, which
someone did come out and say that.
Yeah, and that led to the atomic bomb, which killed millions or hundreds of thousands of people, and has led to our current nuclear arms race and all that.
Which is weird. That's a weird thing to say anyway, because the atomic bomb, I mean, it was just invented by someone. It's not like the Bohemian Grove invented it. They probably talked about it there, but I mean.
Oh yeah. They didn't invent it there. They just planned out the Manhattan Project. So they said, oh yeah, you got these scientists. Well, I got this money. And they got all the resources together to get that project started.
Right.
To get it going. I'm sure one of them knew or was going to hire Einstein to split that atom. Yeah, I mean, these guys, really what's crazy is these guys really aren't that smart. They're just our crazy leaders of the world that are in these positions of power.
Imagine having a business degree, or like a master's in business, and then all of a sudden you're making decisions about how to handle a nuclear bomb.
Man.
What to do with it, and even after 20 years of being a CEO of a company, I mean, how do you even decide what to do with power technology like that?
Yeah, that's a lot of responsibility. Decide who's going to die, and you're sitting there talking to the world leaders that can make those decisions. I'm assuming. I guess Barack Obama's been there. That's the weird thing, is it goes on July every year, so it's like when it's happening, and you see no mention of it on corporate media, of course, because the guys that own the media are going to it. They're not going to publicize. This is intentionally censored out of the public's view. I've talked about this to a lot of people, and I tell them like how it's documented and it's true, and they're like, sure it is, Kevin. And I'm like, no, like, for real, like, this is totally real. This isn't just some wild theory. And they're like, okay, buddy, whatever you say. Like,
well, I mean, it's something you can look up and you can read about and you can watch videos on. It's not like a lot of things where you just can't prove it. I mean, there's good videos of where, and then I think it's the secrecy of the people that attend it that's kind of strange as well, because people will walk up to Newt Gingrich and be like, hey, man, how was Bohemian Grove? And they're like trying to shake his hand.
Yeah.
And he just like freezes. he doesn't know what to say. Like he just starts bugging out.
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, I'm glad there's people that are freaks like you over here, and then like escort the guy out. So he didn't know what to say. He was just like, blah, blah, blah. And then Bill
Yeah,
Clinton makes fun of someone in public about it. And
yeah, it catches them off guard. Yeah, I saw a few people getting kind of sweating, getting asked about it, trying to ignore them. Bill Clinton said something about how he hadn't been there and didn't want to go there, but if you wanted to go up there, you should check it out and get some fresh air or something. But I also read that he has been there. So
yeah, he's on the program.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like Fight Club, you know. There is no Bohemian Grove. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't talk about Bohemian Grove.
I mean, I have interest in getting in there. I'd like to just see it. It seems like, I mean, I've been to summer camp before, you know. They've got some cool summer camp type stuff going. Yeah, summer camp's real cool. I bet these guys got like zip lines and they got all kind of cool little paddle boats, and I mean, this is the world's elite. This is going to be a nice retreat place. I bet they eat some good food too, man.
Yeah. I wonder what it costs. I wonder what it costs to be in because you have to pay. I'm sure you got to pay some kind of dues.
I'm sure. Yeah, it's an elite club, man.
It's like $50K.
I mean, you got to pay a ton of money to be in a country club. This is like This is like country club on steroids.
There's 2,900 members. So that's one of the things that strikes me is there's 2,900 members.
Well, no, but
only these elites are there.
Basically, if you want to know how much it costs, then you cannot afford it.
Right.
You know, that's usually the rule of thumb there. Now, there's been a lot of employees over the years who have, come out after the fact and made claims about what had happened there. One guy says he actually intentionally got hired there to kind of infiltrate it, and he went around and filmed some video footage of some stuff. Mm-hmm. He says he was multiple times he was approached by these members of the club for sex. A lot of times, also though, they kind of screen these people before they hire them, of course, because I've seen a lot of times where they've tried to interview people who do work there, and they will not talk. Like they're serious. They want to keep their job. Other than the Bohemian Grove, there's really not much economy in this very small mountain town. So, right. If you live around there and you want to keep your job, you pretty much keep your mouth shut.
Hell yeah, I would keep my mouth shut. At least until I didn't work there anymore.
Yeah, I heard about this one guy who had basically just he kind of figured out the dress code, and it was like a plaid shirt and a certain kind of pants and shoes and a hat or something, and he just was able to walk right in, and he just hung out for a few days.
Yeah. There was a guy in 1989. His name is Phil Weiss. He snuck in, and he just said he walked in the front gates as well during the cremation of care ceremony. And then he watched the ceremony and then left. So he didn't stay for any kind of duration. But he just walked in, and then he was the first one to report about it in his book, and they had like illustrations of what it looked like, and it was perfect, exactly of what Alex Jones filmed later on. Apparently, until like Alex Jones started making it a big public deal and people were protesting it, there was no security. You could if you just knew where it was, you just walked in, if you weren't a woman.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
Democrat.
Well, obviously, if you were one of the female prostitutes, then that's, I'm sure, just fine.
Right.
To me, like, I don't know if there's any documentation of the prostitution, but I kind of just assume that there is, knowing the way these people are. They're off for 2 weeks. It's all secret. You figure there's a lot of alcohol going on. You figure they're probably having some sex with prostitutes. Right?
They can get away with stuff.
This is just like frat boys on steroids, so yeah, they can get away with whatever they want. Now, obviously, a lot of people think that this cremation of care ceremony is actually it's deeper. It's more mystical, and it's it's trying to rid them of like their emotions and their ethics. So therefore, the things that go on in here are going to not be limiting by their ethical codes and stuff. So things get real sinister.
Well, so Jones says it's pagan and Canaanite, and then David Icke says that it's Satanistic. That's his turn on it.
Satanistic. Now, what's funny to me is that it's people that aren't Christian are like getting all accusatory about Satan. But like, do those people believe in Satan if they're not Christian? That's always interesting to me. It's easy to point fingers and say, well, that's pagan. But like, is pagan really like wrong? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's easy to jump to the assumption that if it's satanic, it's wrong. But well, what if you don't believe in God? Then how do you believe in Satan?
I'm not a religion expert, but I think I remember hearing that a lot of the pagan traditions and stories are part of Bible stories. Like, because pagan is much older than 2,000 years old. And I can't remember specific stories or anything like that, but a lot of the parallels and stories come from pagan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people will say that paganism is Satanistic, like voodoo or something from Louisiana,
right?
African tribes. But it might just be the exact same thing that they're doing when they go to church.
Yeah, I mean, some of the Christian rituals are kind of weird too. They're just accepted because the people have been doing it their whole life.
Thousands of people do it. So
oh man,
it must be right. It must be right.
Millions,
right?
Billions. Let's see. What else do we got here? One of the guy from Spinal Tap actually. I think he was the bassist on Spinal Tap, and he's been in a few of those other kind of mockumentary movies. He, back about over 10 years ago, he made a mockumentary movie called The Teddy Bear's Picnic, which is a parody of the Bohemian Grove. And I've been trying to get my hands on that. He actually was a guest. He attended a weekend at the Bohemian Grove. I haven't been able to see that movie, though. It sounds entertaining.
I watched an interview with Bob Weir, who's the Grateful Dead guitarist, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Head guy? I'm not sure which. But he played Bohemian Grove down as fun. He was saying that, people just, he had a discussion with like a high-ranking military guy, and it was the most engaging talks he ever had in his life. He said, he said when we sat around the fire pit, people, groups of people would crowd around us and hear what we were talking about. And he said he did that a couple nights in a row with the same guy.
Huh.
It was a.
Oh, I don't doubt there's some very stimulating conversation that goes on in this in this grove. I mean.
And once you get past that, it's like, okay, so what's next for you? And they go, well, we were talking about it over at the Lakeside Chats. That the next plan for us is the Middle East, and we're gonna get us some oil.
Yeah, I'm sure they got some, Monsanto guys up in there.
Holy cow!
There's some Monsanto guys.
Oh yeah, they're planning up some stuff.
Yeah, they're definitely planning up some stuff, man. They're talking to all the other captains of industry. So that's basically the gist about the Bohemian Grove. I mean, it's been going on for a long time.
1878.
1878, yeah. It began. It's been going on every year since then. Some people have collected the programs. That one lady you were talking about, she's got a lot of the programs, a lot of the
names.
A lot of the names, a lot of the stuff. What's funny though, I always find these things interesting that are, well documented. They're wide out in the open, and they're very crazy, and everybody should care and be really interested into it.
Nobody cares.
But nobody cares. Yeah, and it just keeps going on. Yeah, people try to explain why it's interesting and why you should care, and people just continue to not care.
It's the fluoride, man. It's the fluoride in the water.
Yeah, man, the chemtrails.
Chemtrails destroying our third eye.
And their commercials. I mean, there's all kind of commercials that are subconsciously telling you to don't question the Bohemian Grove. Don't you dare question the Grove.
Is there any good like? I wonder, is there any like owl people, like, what do you call them? Mascots? There's not a good owl mascot, is there?
What? Well, I mean, you talking about mascots that run around inside there dressed up like owls?
No, just out in public. Like.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, KSU, Kennesaw State University, is the owls.
Yeah.
So there's a direct connection there. Illuminati University.
Where's the women's Bohemian Grove? They gotta have a Bohemian Grove somewhere where they just have gay sex.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't.
That's where the one you want to infiltrate.
You're right. That would be much better to infiltrate. In certain cases, yes. Other cases,
there'd be all kind of drones flying over that one. There would be like hidden cameras in every room.
Yeah, man. TMZ would be all over that one. Yeah, why isn't TMZ all up in the Grove, man? Like, all those people are pulling in. I've seen video of the cars pulling in. Yeah, one of the videos I saw was really weird because one of the cars, they were like stuck in traffic and they walked up to the window of the car and it was just like this cheesy little like Toyota Camry or something. I mean, like an old 80s Camry.
Nice.
Like a beat up car, and in the back seat is freaking Rockefeller. It was the strangest thing, man. They're not coming in like Rolls Royces and all this. They're riding in these weird tiny little ghetto cars.
Yeah, he's coming in with his like daytime pilot in a Camry.
Yeah, I guess they're kind of incognito or something, or they're trying to be anti-material. I mean, I do like I kind of like the concept of getting away for a couple weeks and escaping the outside world and getting away from, because they're not, it's not real materialistic there. Everybody's just kind of, you're living in these kind of tent campsite things, and there's no like brand names or. So I could see how it is a great setting to have some good, focused discussions with other people out there. I mean, you get a lot of good thinking done out there in those woods. I mean, they're probably kind of magical woods. You know what I mean? I've been up there into those redwood forests before, and it's pretty amazing, to be honest.
There's probably a lot of old energy in there. What's the other group where they get together in like Switzerland and it's not G8, but it's like
so there's the Bilderberger group, there's the G8 summit. Yeah, there's quite a few of these that go on every year where
they have opportunities to get together in lots of places.
Yeah, exactly, and it's always at a resort and there's always golf around.
Yeah,
and what's weird is the G8 summit is something that's kind of like more like reported on. And it's kind of more out
protested. Yeah, it's more protested. I mean, every time there's a G8 summit, there's like almost hundreds of thousands of people protesting.
Yeah, exactly.
And that never makes the news. That's the real conspiracy right there.
What, G8 summit?
Yeah, I mean that's
Bilderberger.
That G8, I think it's a much bigger deal, like Earth-wise, than.
Well, I think the G8 summit, is more global, and it's more specifically designed for, discussions on ruling the world.
Right.
Bohemian Grove is, literally more of just a relaxing retreat where a bunch of good old boys, I mean, they're businessmen, so of course they're going to talk business, but they're also going to get completely hammered out of their mind. Whereas G8 summit, it seems a lot more professional.
Do you notice how many groups had defense contractors?
Yes.
Like every single group, like the Hillbillies, Mandalay, Caveman, Stowaway. I mean, every single one of them has defense contractors as one of the Greek.
Defense contractor, which is ironically offense contractors.
Right.
I love how people get the word defense and offense backwards these days. They say, "Oh, we need to up the defense." I'm like, well, if defense means bombing other countries, then you need to look up the definition of the word defense.
Yeah, it's UN peace bombs. I always liked that.
Yeah. Weapons for peace. That's just a interesting, or just the whole idea that we have to. Yeah, well, it's defensive. It's better. You got to go destroy them before they destroy you.
In that case, we need to go get the Inuits in Iceland, because eventually they're going to grow to a size that we're not going to like.
Yeah.
We gotta kill them first, buddy.
Wipe them out. Same with those dolphins. Better kill them, man, before they kill us. Just wipe them out. and manatees, man, we better be careful with those guys. The
blobs will bump into you.
Yeah, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get together and destroy us.
You don't want that slime on you, boy.
Get slimed by like Slimer. So, what's up? Are they really worshiping Satan? Maybe that's the question we need to answer. Are they intentionally worshiping Satan or Moloch or something there? I mean, are they intentionally doing this, or is it just some kind of funny game? Kind of like, how it was cool in the 80s to like listen to Black Sabbath with like pentagrams. It's cool, but like, were they really like Satan worshippers, or was it just like cool?
I don't know, man. I mean, if I was a member and I went to Bohemian Grove and they were doing Satan stuff, I mean, it would just be like, come on, dude, I'm trying to relax, man. Quit doing this Satan stuff, man. Do that at home.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you're one of these guys, then you think the Satan stuff is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like where you get your power.
So you can't do it anywhere else, so you can only do it at Bohemian Grove. Maybe that's the angle.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's on one of those like energy vortexes where,
ooh,
everything gets heightened. And I saw some quote where this guy was saying something about, like once you step foot in there, it's like almost like stepping foot into like another dimension or something. So that kind of sounds kind of interesting to me. I've been to certain points on the planet where I guess it's energy vortex or something, whatever that means, but
like one of those magnetic.
You just get like a different energy field. Like you get different ideas popping into your head, and you get kind of a different vibe. I liked in my brain just automatically it associates with like the Ewok village. From Star Wars.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
They're living in that camp up in the trees and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that. But, of course, there is talk that George Lucas himself is in the Illuminati. And he's,
He's rich enough to be in the Illuminati at this point. He's definitely rich enough.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's rich and powerful. And
I wonder what level, like, what dollar amount you have to get to be in, like, a secret society or club, or like, what do you got to do? Is it 100 million, or is it because like some musicians, like Rihanna, apparently is like an Illuminati, or Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. Oh yeah, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Rihanna.
Like their net worths on the internet say they're like somewhere between like 100 and 200 million dollars.
Oh no, dude, Jay-Z is a billionaire.
Let's check him out.
No, he's a billionaire because he's a mogul. He's got like the clothing line. He's got his whole record label. Yeah, he's totally a billionaire. And then of course Beyonce and him are married, so that includes her wealth as well.
Jay-Z net worth like 560, so he's half a billion.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weak.
Jay sold Rocawear clothing for $204 million in 2007, but when you sell a company, you got to divide all that up.
Dr. Dre.
It doesn't mean he got $204 million.
Dr. Dre sold that Beats Audio to Apple Computer. I'm sure he came in on a sweet deal with that. And I mean, really, did he really do anything? I mean, he probably just signed his name in the first place. They're like, yeah, Dre's beats, okay, and that's it. And then he makes like millions.
Who was that had the vitamin water? Do you remember?
Yeah, who did have the? Somebody did have the vitamin water. The
Uh,
total scam. I mean, geez, just water.
yeah, I think he bought the vitamin water. He bought like 51% of the stock when it was worth like $15 million, and it was bought by Coca-Cola for like hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, he just like made it. It was like a year later. It wasn't even like he didn't spend much time on it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever tried vitamin water, to be honest with you. Let's see, I'm trying to find who the vitamin water guy is.
'Cause the purple one was named after him.
Oh, 50 Cent, man.
50.
He sold it for a little bit more than 50 Cent.
A little bit.
But no, I mean, like, yeah, the whole, like, so I'm sure Jay-Z's been there. It seems to be a lot of white guys, but I'm sure these days they got to let black guys in, because, I mean, Jay-Z's way up there in the world, the global elitist agenda. Yeah, like you said, Rihanna, you got Katy Perry. A lot of times, too, some of these people are ones behind the scenes you don't hear about as much, like the producers and the CEOs that are running the business side,
Right? Like
the clothing and the music.
Did I tell you about through some connections, we know the guy who invented the Super Soaker? Did I tell you about that guy?
No.
Yeah, we.
You know him personally?
Yeah, we visit his house. I don't visit his house, but my wife visits the house like every week.
Uh-huh.
He lives here in Atlanta, but he's like a NASA scientist. Invented Super Soaker. He has hundreds of millions of dollars.
Sounds, yeah.
In a big old house downtown. But yeah, so I mean, it's just people like that. You invent a Super Soaker, something that you wouldn't even think of, and you end up being a part of Bohemian Grove society.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, you're connected in something. You got a product that speaks to the masses.
Like the Slinky. I bet the inventor of the Slinky used to be in the Bohemian Grove. Man, I got $1 billion from Slinky. You better let me in. I got the money.
Yeah, it's weird. When I was out in L.A., I started to meet a couple people. If I stayed out there longer and I put any effort into it, I probably could have ended up, getting invited to some of these Hollywood parties at least. Yeah. I don't know if that's Bohemian Grove or Scientology or whatever it is. But
Atlanta is now the Hollywood of the East. So we can get
Atlanta is, yep.
I got a film studio right behind my house. It's called Atlanta Film Studios. It's right behind my house.
Oh wow.
They invited the people of the city that I live in here to be in some final episodes of a game show that was going to be on E or something. I can't remember what channel it was on.
Well, yeah, I mean, Atlanta's because of some tax reason, Atlanta's got a ton of movies and media. CNN, of course, is the home of. Yeah. Is based in Atlanta. By the way, Ted Turner.
Turner Broadcasting.
Probably a Grover.
Ooh. He's an Illuminati at this point. I think the Illuminati are like the 13 families and the.
He's up there now. Oh, I just heard the other day that apparently he might have put the Georgia Guidestones in.
Really?
Yeah, just somebody theorizing things. I mean, rich guy from Georgia.
Right.
It's not really that. Carter. Jimmy Carter. I don't think he's anywhere near as wealthy as Ted Turner.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he's got the power. I mean, if you got the power, you can convince rich people to donate to your foundation or something. Ted Turner has apparently cashed out, though, for the most part. He's not really an Atlanta guy anymore. He's out there trying to do his whole buffalo ranching.
You know what Jimmy Carter's net worth is?
What is that?
$5 million.
That's pretty weak.
I mean, I don't have $5 million, but that's pretty weak for.
That's pretty weak, but honestly, right. Well, but I mean, I guess what's weird about what was Jimmy Carter doing before he got president? Because
the peanut farmer.
He must have been a pretty big time peanut farmer to pull in that money.
Like the most epic peanut farmer ever.
Yeah. He was a pre-Monsanto farmer.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I know he preaches down in South Georgia still to
You
this
know,
day.
a lot of his policies, like if you watch a lot of his speeches and policies and stuff, they're a lot like Ron Paul and Rand Paul. And he
Yeah,
was elected, and I think a lot of people that were on his side were hoping he would do great things, and just like Obama, people were called him the worst president ever because he didn't act on a lot of the stuff he was supposed to.
yeah, I've heard him called the worst. Yeah, the worst until Obama.
Until Obama, I'd
Until
never
Obama.
absolutely think that Obama's like the worst one. There's some like a few things here and there that I'm like, okay, well he did that, but not, and he did it like
Man.
halfway. But
Well,
there's a lot of people out there who like Obama is the second coming of Jesus.
people get all. It's amazing how people get all worked up in like whatever's going on, like right now.
Yeah.
Like it's right now is everything, and everything is the worst or the best. And, yeah, like over time, it's like, come on, he's just going to go down. I mean, he's going to go down in history, of course, as the first half-black president. That's a fact. So that's kind of a milestone. But yeah, and whether I agree or disagree with him, I mean, he's just the president. It's like your life in this country is just an ongoing thing. There's some guy that gets elected, and he's this face that makes, quote unquote, makes decisions or whatever, and you can get all wrapped up in it if you want, but you really can't do anything about it. So you kind of just got to accept it. And to me, it's all just hilarious. It's just a game. It's just a big joke, you know.
I mean, it's just gonna get bad enough, and then people are just gonna go, okay, let's have a revolution, and then that's gonna last for a little while, and then it's all gonna come back and start over again.
Yep.
Because we don't live in a free country anymore, and it is gonna.
No, I mean this country. You know, it's funny how people they all want to be constitutionalists, and I get that. I mean, there's definitely some things in the Constitution that are pretty sound and we should stand up for. But you know, when that was written, man, this was not the same country anymore.
They probably didn't think we'd have flying machines.
Some of that stuff does not apply, and I don't want to get specific because honestly, I don't even know the Constitution that well. But I mean, you know, it was written by guys who owned slaves. I mean, it was written by guys who didn't have, like science like we have now.
It was written on hemp paper.
It was written on hemp paper. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. They had some good ideas. They had some good quotes. But I heard a quote the other day. You know, you got to be careful of quotes because this one quote I heard, it said, "Be careful of quotes that you hear on the internet." And then it was signed Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
So you got to be leery, man. You got to question those quotes. Yeah.
Question those answers, yeah.
Because Lincoln was clearly very aware of the dangers of the internet, you know, and he's a smart man. Of course, I heard he didn't get killed. Actually, it was like a hoax, and yeah.
Well, it's not true. I mean, that's true that people say that.
Yeah, it's true that I heard that. Yes. So we've gotten off topic from the Bohemian Grove.
Not really. We're still on topic a little bit. Talking about
that's true.
Leaders.
Yeah. Now the Bohemian Grove, they have it's part of it's part of the Bohemian Club, which goes on in San Francisco, and that's just a building. I'm guessing there's stuff going on there all year round. It seems very similar to like a Freemason temple.
Is that like the center of gayness?
It's in the. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, could be.
You know, I don't know.
Could be a temple
right
of
there.
Gay. Could be a temple of gay.
Temple of Gay.
Yeah.
Hey, it could be a gay organization, you know. But of course, San Francisco was also the home of the Reverend Jim Jones. You know, he came out of.
You might have hit on the key to the Bohemian Grove. It might just be a gay organization, and they don't. That's why people freak out when you hear about it.
It's just
you
a big
ask them about it, and they're like, "Oh, don't say anything."
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, the whole thing's really just a big bathhouse.
Yeah. What if Bohemian and like Chechenian language means gay? We gotta look that up. Google it.
I mean, you know, if that's what's true, then they should embrace it. It's a shame, though. You know, I heard
in society you can't be gay.
What is so weird about our society, you know how like a lot of people that are Christian are so opposed to somebody being atheist, right? Like, they think that's the worst thing. But they would actually vote an atheist into president before they would vote in a gay guy, still.
Yeah.
And that is so dumb.
It is dumb. Priorities.
I mean, that's just so dumb. I mean, to me, it's dumb that you wouldn't vote in an atheist, because, like, what does that really have to do with anything? I mean, I'd prefer you to stick by the law of the land as opposed to what the Bible says. I mean, that's like the law of a land from thousands of years ago in the Middle East. Like, what do we care about that? Why don't we go by the law of our current, land? And then maybe you would actually ignore all these ridiculous end times prophecies. Because a lot of people really want us to, we got to protect Israel, man. We got to make the prophecy happen.
End time prophecies really piss me off.
They're just so dumb, and the problem is they'll actually, the prophecy will be fulfilled. They're going to make it happen. I mean,
well, I mean, like a meteor is just going to fizzle out and slam into Russia, and that's going to be the end times, and everybody's going to say, "Oh, we didn't pray enough," or something. And it was just a natural geologic accident. That happens all the time. Not geologic, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, just a natural disaster.
Yeah, just like a tsunami hitting Thailand wasn't the end of days. For them, it was the end of days, but for us, it was not.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That's not. I mean, it's
the end times is. I just saw Interstellar. Have you seen that?
Hell yeah, I saw Interstellar. I mean, it was like one of my favorite movies.
So that was kind of like end times.
Recent times. It was
getting close to end times for those people, man. They had to figure something out.
Yeah, I mean, they had like the food famine. Oh, I don't know if we should give it away, like spoiler alert.
Yeah, you're right. We probably shouldn't spoil that. That's a movie that should not be spoiled. Yeah, for sure.
That's a great movie, because I didn't know what it was about, and I did that on purpose. I didn't watch any of the trailers or anything like that, so I just wanted to go in fresh, and yeah, man, I love that movie. I'm gonna buy that on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I went in fresh too.
I think it was great.
It was really good. I got a little too drunk while I was watching it, so I had to kind of go back and watch it again, because it was a little hazy there at the end, which is like kind of the crucial time where you need to really be focusing.
The last, I'd say, 20, 30 minutes?
Last 30 minutes was when I was blacked out. So
I woke up. It's the epic time to watch it. I mean, that's all of the action is happening in that 30 minutes. I mean, it still got action at the beginning, like right off the bat.
No, yeah. He's like
famine and everything.
Chasing that drone through the cornfield and all that crazy stuff.
God, I gotta watch that again.
Yeah, it was awesome. I have the movie. Yeah, I've got the movie, man. It's awesome.
Let me get me some boiled peanuts, Jimmy Carter style, and watch Interstellar on.
Get some boiled peanuts.
On iTunes.
But boiled peanuts are cooked, man.
That's true.
You get some raw peanuts.
I have raw peanuts down in my.
But now boiled peanuts do bring out a certain flavor that you can't get otherwise.
Yeah, they're very salty.
So let's see. What are some other things we can discuss about the Bohemian Grove? John Ronson is a very interesting person that our listeners, I would recommend you should check some of his stuff out. He's a British reporter.
Not a lot of people have heard of him.
Yeah, not at all. I learned about him from the Mark Maron podcast, the WTF podcast, which is very popular. He interviewed John Ronson. And John Ronson wrote the novel Men Who Stare at Goats, which is, of course, a Hollywood movie with George Clooney and some other big players.
Hilarious.
It's a good movie. Based on a true story, alleged true story, I guess you could say. But because he's into those kind of fringe topics, he kind of comes at it from like a skeptical point of view, which is interesting. But he also has a book called Them, which I read the book and thought it was really good. It's pretty straightforward. Every chapter just covers a different topic. But one of the topics is, he hangs out with some people that are investigating the Bilderberger group and meetings. But another one is when he meets up with Alex Jones and they sneak into the Bohemian Grove, and he goes into a lot of detail about that stuff.
The Secret Rulers of the World is a series that he was in for that.
The Secret Rulers of the World.
Yeah, it's really good. That's an actual BBC television show. It wasn't on some back end TV. It wasn't on
No, it's big time. It's from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You can find it on YouTube. Yeah, he did the Secret Rulers of the World, but then in 2004 he did the Crazy Rulers of the World.
Huh.
So in part 1 you got the Men Who Stare at Goats. Part 2 is called Funny Torture, and part 3 is the Psychic. And a lot of these are interesting because they're serious government experiences or serious government experiments to try to study if there's any validity to psychic stuff, ESP.
So the Men Who Stare at Goats is a book, but they did an episode on it. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a book he wrote.
Oh man, I thought it was just that show. I'll have to read that book.
You've seen the movie too, right?
I saw. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Was it? Well, did I? No, I think I saw the hour-long John Ronson.
Yeah. That's
movie?
good, but there's a big Hollywood movie with George Clooney, man.
Oh no, I didn't see that.
It's pretty freaking that's what I saw first off back in the mid 2005 or so, and I liked it a lot. My girlfriend at the time thought it was stupid and weird, but I guess that's kind of why
it's girl stuff, man. Not girl stuff.
Well, we broke up because she probably thought I was pretty stupid and weird, and that's probably half true. I mean, I'm looking at his filmography. He's got a lot of stuff.
Which half? Are you stupid or are you weird?
It depends on the day, man, to be honest. But no, he's got a lot of stuff I haven't seen, so that's a guy that people should check out. He's got a TED Talk, a lot of thought-inspiring topics.
Oh, so Men Who Stare at Goats is available on Netflix.
Oh, really? Oh, the actual movie?
The movie. So you have to.
You should definitely watch that, man.
You gotta get it on DVD. It's not streaming.
Yeah. I could get a hold of a copy for you if you need me to.
I just put it on my top list, on my top queue. So
that way you can get it on Blu-ray, I guess.
Yep.
Okay, so we would like our listeners to send us an email if they have any comments or questions or theories about the Bohemian Grove or anything surrounding the discussion we're having today.
Right. Yeah, when we look around to the Bohemian Grove episode 2, the second part of this. Yeah,
the follow-up.
Yeah, we'll address some of your questions.
The Bohemian Grove, too, what's interesting about it is, the Bohemian Grove and Club takes place around San Francisco. And San Francisco is one of those places where there's been a lot of very influential and sort of outside-the-box type things that have spun out of that region as far as music, literature, philosophy. I know Alan Watts spent his last days up there in the northern part of California, San Francisco. Scientology definitely came out of the whole LA, San Francisco scene. There was a guy that spun out of the Scientology realm, and he created the EST training. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
EST, yeah, that's some interesting stuff. Arguably culty, arguably Scientology-ish, but he made billions of dollars. We could maybe talk about that sometime. His name was Werner. The name, I can't think of the name right now, but the Grateful Dead. Think what you want about the Grateful Dead, but they came out of that area, and like you said, Bob Weir apparently had hung out at the Grove. I mean, there's endless artists and musicians and people that have just gone there just for fun.
Yeah.
I'm not a total hater on the Grove, No,
me either. I think it might be something that's getting a little pushed out, of proportion.
Yeah, it sounds kind of fun in some ways. I mean, I would like to just go take 2 weeks off of work and just kind of have no rules. And I mean, I'm not gonna like do any gross stuff, but I like to drink in redwood forests and
You like hoot and
stuff
howl
like
in the
that.
trees.
Yeah, piss all over the place and smoke a cigar. Sounds great, man. I bet they got some delicious food too, man. Can you imagine?
Yeah, but then again, it's private property. I mean, they can do gay stuff if they want, and plus, gay is like
Ugh,
really. I mean, whatever. It's just what
not
you do.
just.
Just
I
what you
mean,
do.
yeah, private property. I mean, yeah, I mean they can do whatever gay stuff they want, man. I mean, I would hope to think that I don't get drunk enough to let them do something to me, but
It's just whenever they start running people through with knives and swords, that might be a little. You might want to
yeah,
call the
yeah,
cops. Yeah.
right, right. If it went into anything like that, then yeah, of course we have a problem. And there may now okay here. So here's another interesting theory, of course, is that it is secret, it is private, but it's not secret enough because we know about it. We're talking about it. It's very documented.
Yeah.
It could clearly be a distraction away from something else.
I'm telling you, it's the women. The women Bohemian Grove.
It's a distraction away from the
They're
female.
they're in Cancun, taking their tops off and doing their own gay stuff.
Like Barbara Bush and
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bush showing her bush. Ew. Can you imagine?
some of that though. We're, like Nancy Pelosi, like no, thank you. I don't want to see.
Holy man, keep your clothes on.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I guess Sarah Palin might not be the worst, but you know,
Those are some horrifying looking people. Oh my god.
Hillary Clinton, dude. Woo! Speaking of which, Hillary thinks she's going to be president. We got some interesting candidates popping up now. Have you been paying attention to that?
Yeah, the polls. I mean, are already saying that Hillary ain't gonna make it. But
Oh, I'm not looking at polls.
she might have made that agreement already with Bohemian Grove because they'll just manipulate the voting polls, you know.
Right. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that. The Bohemian Grove is rumored to be where they select the next president.
That's right. Did I mention to you about that guy named George Green, who was the Yeah, we did. We talked about it on the UFO episode, which was a couple back. George Green apparently is now a Pleiadian contactee, but he was at Bohemian. He tells people that he was at Bohemian Grove, and they told him he was going to be the president of the United States, and
Yeah.
he said no thanks.
Wow.
He was involved in like 100 million. He was like building in Las Vegas, and had a $100 million project going at the time when they told him that, and basically when he said no, his business just declined. Not all at once, but over the course of a few years. But he still had, he's still a super millionaire. He's never going to be poor.
Right.
But yeah, George Green is his name, but yeah, he's apparently a UFO contactee nowadays. But
Yeah, like Tesla.
right. So Barack Obama was supposedly there way before he was president. 3 or 4 years before he was even elected. And obviously, a lot of the presidents just have been there. There's a really famous picture on the Wikipedia site that shows Richard Nixon
Reagan.
and Ronald Reagan both before they were elected.
Yeah, and probably some of those other guys are notable. We just don't know who they are.
Let's see. There's a couple names here. Harvey Hancock, who may mean something to someone out there. Preston Hotchkins, Glenn T. Seaborg, Jack Sparks, Frank Lyndon, Edwin W. Pauley are the people in the picture. And there's a couple unidentified. But that's who they say those people are. But I don't recognize any of those names because obviously I wasn't born in 1967. I was born about 11 years later. But so I don't know. These people could be very influential to people who are a little bit older than we are.
Yeah, and of course the most influential people in the world are people you're never going to hear about.
Right. That's true.
Now, maybe like, okay, here's a theory. It just popped into my head.
Hit me.
maybe all this stuff we're talking about is part of the distraction. Maybe this vortex, this energy, this location they're all actually being completely, programmed and mind controlled. Like they think they're having this nice little happy weekend and it's great and they're having their little talks and discussions, but really there's something else going on behind the scenes, behind the veil of reality, and it's actually what's really happening at the Bohemian Grove, and it does maybe tie in more to this weird pagan stuff. You know
Well, I
what
mean,
I mean?
think about the episode where we were talking about like the Philadelphia project and all these technologies the armies had invented or come across, time travel and portals to Mars and all this stuff that Barack Obama supposedly went through.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about all that technology they could just place at Bohemian Grove and then have fun with and do all kinds of like dimension shifting and talking to aliens and
That'd be
portal
great
out to
fun.
Mars. Maybe that's where they do portal out to Mars. Maybe like once a year they just go out, they like disappear into their what's one of the names of the Owl's Nest Club. They
Yeah.
portal out to Mars for like 5 or 6 hours and portal back. And you're back in your Owl's Nest.
There, that could be very possible. I've never heard anything about UFOs landing in there or aliens being there. That's not to say.
Maybe they're trying to get away from them too.
They could be. Of course, these underground, interlocking magnetic trains.
Yeah.
There could definitely be some kind of, opening down to one of those tunnels that can zip them around to wherever.
And then meet up with the aliens. Maybe that's where they're having their sex with aliens.
Or, there's something about the trees. The trees, these like ancient trees, like maybe they're in tune, and they somehow, maybe the trees are telling them stuff, man. I wonder if they do psychedelic drugs there, or anything other than alcohol. You got to figure they're smoking some.
I'd be on ecstasy the whole weekend.
I mean, if there's no rules and these people are this rich and powerful, there's no police around. I mean,
that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. People said they've called the police and they don't show up. Like they never come. Right. They never arrest anybody. There's literal stories of like people getting injured and fights happening, and they call the cops and they just don't come.
Yeah, they got their own security, man. It's very hush hush. I would almost like to. It'd be cool to go out there, in the beginning of July and try to hang out.
I'll put it out there. All right, I want to be a Bohemian Grove member for a week.
Okay, me too. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get invited.
Yeah, I won't bring any camera. Oh, no, like the technology today. Can you imagine? Like anybody can film what's going on there. They just choose not to. I wonder why.
Sure, unless they make you check your iPhone at the door or something.
Yeah, they're not tweeting. They're not like posting a picture of the owl, like selfie with the owl or anything like selfie, clicking with the owl. Not doing any of that. Actually, I wonder if anybody's searched for that.
I'm sure Zuckerberg's gone to the Grove, right?
Yeah, he has been. Yep.
Zuckerberg, and then our buddies Larry and Sergey from Google, who are listening right now. Actually, we're on their using their technology, so.
Right.
The whole point of their technology is so they can monitor us and gain information about us. So, Larry and Sergey, or whoever there at Google, Larry Schmidt, whoever. If you guys want to get us an invite into the Grove, I mean, we'd love to debunk and disprove that there's nothing going on there that's of any concern whatsoever. And also, I like German wheat beer, so if you could keep that in stock, that would be great too. Although I'm sure whatever you have is fine, but.
I'll take some adrenochrome.
Maybe we could. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. I wouldn't. Hopefully I don't have to murder somebody to get it. Maybe we should just try to go get jobs there, man. Maybe we should just apply and. tell our wives like, well, sorry, I gotta go work at this thing for 3 weeks or two
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah. Volunteer.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how that goes, man. I'll tell my wife I'm gonna be leaving this summer for 2 weeks, and I'm gonna go work at the Bohemian Grove.
Hashtag Bohemian Grove. Follow me.
Oh, yeah. I'll be did a photo stream.
Ustream.
Ustream.
I have a battery pack on our backs. All right, so we're going to start a crowdfunding right now to get us to Bohemian Grove, and our 25 listeners can help us get there.
Up by my house, there's this. It's kind of like it's funny. It's kind of like a little Pee-wee Bohemian Grove. It's a campsite by the lake that's run by the Boy Scouts of America, and they've got these little cabins up there in the woods, and they're usually not there. So usually, what I do is just walk all up on it, man, and go use their dock and everything for free.
Nice.
But yeah, it's totally private. Little camp there. It's just like Bohemian Grove Junior. But the Boy Scouts are. I mean, what do you think about the Boy Scouts, man? They seem like they're kind of they're kind of fun. I did it, but there's definitely some mind control programming swirled in there.
Yeah, people have compared it to like masonry. Masons, they want you to grow up to be a mason, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. They want you to be part of this kind of group.
I think they pick you out pretty quick once you're like a parent or a child, and they pick you out. They give you special treatment. And they get you through the program, and then the other kids kind of fend for themselves and do what they can. I wasn't in Boy Scouts because I was too busy doing like baseball and stuff. But
oh yeah, you're way too cool.
There's a lot of Boy Scout nerds that were still wearing their patches when I was in high school.
Oh yeah, and they were Eagle Scouts by then, man. Those guys were serious. They often were into the ROTC as well.
Was it 3? Was it 3 or 2?
Oh, I don't know, man.
It's the military, I think, or 3 is the Boy Scout.
Maybe so. I remember I made it to Webelow. I never made it to Boy Scout.
That's what it was.
I made it. Yeah, Webelow means we be loyal scouts.
No way. You remember that?
Yeah.
I remember people saying Webelow.
Yeah, I'm a Webelow because I was a Boy Scout at first. I got the Wolf badge, and then I can't remember what came after the Wolf badge, but after that, man, I was a Webelow. And then I just dropped out. I went to the Scout show, man, downtown. That was a big deal. But, all right, I guess that's about it, man. I mean, unless you can come to think of anything else, I guess we could give another shout-out to our listeners to Q the A podcast. That's Q the A podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, you can find us on Twitter at Q the A podcast. Give us an email. We're getting quite a good listenership here the first month that we're on, so keep it up and tell your friends.
It's picking up a bit. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully you guys are liking it. You can even call or not call, but you can write us any suggestions that you have if you have any weird sound problems or anything.
Eventually when our listenership gets high enough, we might invest in some technology where you can call in. Maybe we'll do call-in shows every once in a while, and
well, as of right now, they could easily jump in on this group discussion with us. So
that's another thing. I mean, once our listenership's high enough, we might guarantee that we'll be here at 6 o'clock on a Monday night Eastern time, which we are most of the time. So if you just check with us or follow us on Google Plus, Twitter, that gets posted as soon as we start scheduling an event. You can be a part of that, and you'll know whenever we're going to be live, so you can ask questions of us live on the Google Plus YouTube channel.
That's right.
So what do you think our next episode is going to be about there, Kevin? What do you got? You got any ideas?
Woo! Well, we're kind of winging it, man. Next episode, I don't know. I definitely want to do a Scientology episode in the future, but I don't know if we're ready for that yet. I just downloaded the latest of HBO documentary that they made called Going Clear, and it's supposed to be like really good.
Nice.
I'm sure it's very anti-Scientology, But I'm not like anti-Scientology because actually I like some things about Scientology, but I'm definitely not a Scientologist. But I know a lot of people are very anti-Scientology. But what's
I don't
funny
know
is the
anything
people
about
that
it.
are yeah, a lot of people that are really anti-Scientology, they really don't know much about it.
I definitely
So
don't know anything about it. But my favorite episode, I think, if we do, should be like Bigfoot. That would be.
oh,
I listened to a Bigfoot podcast today. Oh, it's Coast to Coast, basically. Coast to Coast AM. It got me energized about Bigfoot again.
all right, yeah, I mean definitely Bigfoot's not without a doubt.
Sasquatch.
That's on the list, man. You know, Sasquatch, Yeti, all that jazz. The
Yeah.
golden something or other, I've heard is another name. I mean, we could even do an entire episode on cryptozoology.
Yeah. Like
But that may
giants and
be a little,
things.
yeah, that may be a little too long though. You got chupacabra, you got this and that. So, and then,
Yeti.
all right, well, let's call it a wraps then here, guys.
Yeah, man.
You guys have a nice week. Enjoy the podcast, and we'll see you next week.
Next week, next Monday.
All
Have a
right,
good
later.
night.
Later, Dukey Royale.
Bye. See you, Elon K.